Free beer and hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
Partly cloudy today, warmer and more humid. A few showers, 78 the high. It's already 70 and very cloudy downtown.
Cloudy, but no rain yet.
Not so far. Not here.
It's been beautiful.
I think
here.
most of the rain is going to be to the north.
That's good news.
So we'll see. They had massive thunderstorms up near Traverse City and Bel Air.
Really?
Hail. I thought I saw 3/4 of an inch size hail.
Oh,
Like massive storm
boy.
for any time, but especially for the middle of October. This story seems like something where it's going to make us very angry at some scammer
it will.
ripping off a nice lady.
Now to a word of warning from a woman who says a scam cost her all of the money in her savings account. The victim tells us she was looking to rent a home on Craigslist and things went south from there. Tonight, she's hoping her story prevents this from happening to you. She shared that with 24-Hour News 8's Heather Walker. Heather's here with us in studio.
Leon, scammers are basically copying real listings for rentals and posing as the owners, taking your money and then leaving you without a place to stay.
We had someone who admitted when we were doing a call-in one day, what's your scam?
Yeah.
And they had done this in another area where they would post it, get all the deposits, and then come move-in day, everybody shows up, and none of them have the right to move in.
Absolutely.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's awful.
But they do this to someone that needs a place, a chance, of getting a place to stay. Why?
So this is where you're staying?
Yes.
This single mother, her 4-year-old daughter, and their dog are living in a motel.
This is what we eat off of. Plates here.
Today was supposed to be the day they moved in here, a 3-bedroom house in a quiet Alger Heights neighborhood.
The wording and stuff sounded so nice.
The listing on Craigslist said the owner was on a mission trip in Haiti and looking for someone to rent out the home while they were away.
He was a man of the cloth. He was in the minute. So I'm thinking that he's a good person.
They emailed back and forth, and Teresa Johnson
I
was
don't know
told
how it can be that scummy.
So-
I just
God,
don't.
I know.
I just don't know how people are built that way.
So he uses the scam of that I'm helping the less fortunate as a reason why you can't get in to look at the house.
Yeah.
Right? So drive by and take a look. Oh, man.
she could move in. All she had to do was send $1,600 for security deposit.
I had only $800, in which I could give him $800.
And that was all of your savings?
That was all of my savings.
She sent the money through Western Union to Arizona. When she went by the house to see it in person, there were lights on and a man inside. It was the real owner.
I just couldn't believe someone would do that.
The owner didn't want to be identified. He said the house is listed for rent, but not on Craigslist, and he wouldn't ask for money up front.
Yeah, they copied and pasted the ad, basically.
You think that you're wise enough and you're street smart, and your parents always tell you to be careful of wolves and sheep clothing. They always tell you these things. And me, as a person of my character, I should have known better, but I was just like gung-ho, like, wow, today is a day. God
We got a
answered
great
my
deal.
call.
It's hard to find a house.
Yeah,
I just happened to.
and that's what happens a lot. Yeah, when it seems too good to be true.
Yeah. It's just,
I got this blessing.
you cannot start paying for things before you start meeting people and looking at the house.
No,
But it would,
that's the biggest thing. Never send money to people you've never met.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't. And even sometimes when you do meet them, you have to beware.
Yeah. That's
but if
the hard thing.
if you can't get into a house, I mean, if somebody's renting a house, you're gonna be able to go in it. I mean, plus you should never get anything sight unseen anyway,
No.
because you never know. It's like that last story where those people go to the hotel and everything's torn apart and there's feces everywhere. Like, you don't want that.
No, but I mean, who checks out a hotel room before you?
No, but I mean,
pay
like
for
if you're gonna. No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, in terms of like, you never know what you're gonna get, especially in a place you're going to rent and live in.
Yeah.
You definitely want to look at that.
Yeah.
Somebody could have got
probably-
Justin when you first moved because you were having such a hard time finding something.
I was like her. I completely get why she did what she did. It's because by the time you get to that house to look at it, it's already rented.
The market's so good right now for people
so
that have places.
She pulled the trigger on the great deal because it was going to be swept from underneath her feet, and I could have easily, been in the same shoes.
Yeah, I mean it does happen, and I did the same thing. I had place that I moved to in both Tennessee and in Pennsylvania. When we moved to both of those places, I had to rent a place sight unseen.
Yeah.
But I was calling an actual, like I was calling the complex.
Yeah.
It wasn't that something that I found on Craigslist or whatever.
And you got
to recommend, recommendation like, hey man, where should I go look? Well, there's some apartments here. There's some apartments here. Okay, great. I'll call them. And so, I knew I was dealing with the actual apartment complex. They were listed in the phone book, and website and all that. But Craigslist is such a crapshoot.
Yeah, it is.
It's the
bummer. Wild West.
And then when you're in her situation, you're working with money orders and Western Union and things like that. So you can't just write a check, call your bank, and go cancel that.
Yeah. If somebody asks for a money order, run away.
No.
Did you happen to
absolutely.
hear that thing Glenn Beck was reading, or that story he was telling the other day?
No.
He was. I caught just the end of it, and to his credit, he did an amazing job of telling the story. It's one of those things where I'm flipping through during commercials.
Yeah.
And I stop and I hear it and I realize, my God, I actually sat in my car, and it was the story of this mother who got a text from her daughter that said, I am in trouble. Please help me. And then she got a phone call from someone that said, we have your daughter. I got your number off of her phone, and you need to do exactly what we tell you, or you'll never see her again.
Yeah.
And then somehow they were able to use GPS to track her. They knew the area. So they've had her drive from one bank to another, taking money out and then driving to Western Unions. And they would make her leave the phone on all the time. And if she said anything, or if the clerk said anything, why were they laughing? What were they laughing about? What did you tell them? You're never going to see your daughter again. And so this mother's doing that. It goes on for 7 hours.
Oh,
and finally, and keep saying, I need proof that my daughter's okay. And they would just call her bluff and say, no, go ahead and test us. And so she said, I can't remember how much money, but it was like maybe $5,000 or $6,000 at different stops throughout the day, all untrackable, all gone, like through Western Union or similar programs. And then she eventually got a text from her daughter, and they had been at a school field trip all day, just as it was just a scam. It was all just, and I don't know. I wasn't able to keep listening after that, but apparently it was just masking phone numbers and,
the daughter was in on it.
Well, maybe, who knows? That would be pretty dirty.
No, we were on a field trip.
Yeah.
How old was the daughter?
High school aged?
Oh, yeah.
Or college aged?
Totally.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Or 5 bad boyfriends all working together.
Yeah.
That would be weird.
I know how much money my mom has.
Now I need to find out. I need closure on that.
That's what it is. You don't need to. I just told you.
And it was $10,000.
It was? Did you find it?
$10,000?
Yeah, I found it. What? Yeah, I found the news story.
$1,000.
Was the daughter in on it?
It doesn't. I haven't got that far in reading. It doesn't look like it though.
Does it say how they did it?
But Joe's probably right. There's a whole news story. Want me to play it real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty fascinating.
Well, it started with a phone call from a number in Mexico, and then she heard the screams. A Leesburg woman was told her daughter had been kidnapped, and the ransom was cash. And, they wanted as much as they could get.
Yeah, it all seemed so real to her, but it turned out to be nothing but a vicious, vicious scam. And tonight, Fox Eye's Paul Wagner has the story of a virtual kidnapping that convinced the woman that her daughter was in danger of being killed. Paul, this is just an awful story. Joining us live tonight, Paul, tell us what happened.
Yeah, Laura and Sarah, Wendy Mueller was standing at her kitchen sink at her home here in Leesburg about 2 weeks ago when a number came up on her cell phone. It was a number from Mexico. She didn't think too much of it at the time because she hires a landscaper from Mexico. She answered that phone, and what she heard next sent her into a...
And he still has a Mexican phone?
Jeez.
Okay.
You don't even want to pretend she's not hiring illegals?
Okay.
Yeah, well, I met him at Lowe's. He was sitting in the back of a pickup.
So I didn't answer because I didn't want to talk to him.
That is insane.
That is so weird.
For them, it wasn't even part of the story.
No.
Like, It's different parts of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
A woman screaming. Mom, I'm scared. I don't know where I am. And that was all I could make out. She was saying other things, but I didn't, and I kept saying, honey, can you calm down? I can't understand what you're saying. And we went through that a couple of times, and I got the same bits of information, and then the man took over the phone. And he said...
So the daughter is on the phone.
She thinks so.
Or I guess somebody who might... Maybe she thought it was her daughter just because she said, Mom, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We have your daughter. If you do everything, you'll see your daughter again if you do everything we tell you to do. And I started to cry and yell into the phone, please don't hurt her. And he was, be calm, don't. You're not going to be any good to us if you're crying. You need to stop crying and listen very carefully.
Well, stop telling me bad things. I won't cry.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Wendy Mueller said she did listen very carefully. She said that man then told her to take her phone, to get a charger, to get in the car, and then to go to a bank. He asked her, please put the phone on speaker so that I will always be there, and put the phone in the purse. I want to know how much money you can come up with. She said it was one of the hardest questions she'd ever been asked. She thought very quickly, and she said, $10,000. I can get you $10,000. At that point, the man had more specific directions.
Roll the story.
He demanded that I keep the phone on speaker the entire time.
We just heard that.
That I was
way to
never
give away
to
the
speak
story,
to
guy.
him when I was in the bank or anywhere else. That I was to put my phone right inside my purse when I went into the bank or anywhere else, and that way he could hear exactly what was going on. And if he heard anything that sounded like I was asking for help, then he would kill my daughter.
Now, Wendy Mueller told me today that she was absolutely convinced that the woman she heard screaming in the back room was actually her daughter.
Now,
she was absolutely...
I don't know how, that would scare the life out of you so quickly, and you would so quickly be anxious about that. You would quickly stop thinking clearly. It'd be easy to do that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I can't believe you wouldn't try to text or call.
Well, she's on her phone, though.
Well, but no, they're calling on, it's a number from Mexico that she didn't recognize.
But
Remember?
she's on her phone.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's an iPhone. You can do...
Well, yeah, I know. No, I know you can, but
Text.
if she was, but if she's worried that if that call gets disconnected, they're going to kill her daughter.
Yeah, you wouldn't be screwing around.
See, she's not savvy like me, or she's got two phones.
Yeah. And one you're just stealing Wi-Fi.
Then you don't need to worry about it. By the way, that came in really handy with the terrible Wi-Fi in Green Bay.
Yeah, I bet.
had noticed some odd transactions, and the kidnapper set up a three-way call. Wendy Mueller had her phone in her hand when she suddenly saw a text come in from her daughter.
And during that part of the conversation, I quick texted my daughter. I said, "Are you okay?" And her response was, "Yeah, why?"
Oh my God, that moment.
What went through your mind?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I can feel it again right now. It was just this sense of relief and horror that I had just been put through this.
Yeah, by that point, she had gone to 4 different locations and sent all sorts of money to whoever this was.
Yeah.
But you know what? You'd be so relieved at that point.
You would be at that moment.
I mean, later you go, I can't believe we're out 10 grand or whatever. But
oh my God, yeah.
Glad she was okay, but you know, that the realization that someone has done this to you. At that point, I yelled into the phone. I said, "Don't release that money. This is a scam." And I hung up the phone, and I hung up the third call.
And Wendy Mueller says she absolutely believed that that was her daughter screaming in the background.
So she stopped the money. Maybe.
She stopped that money.
That last transfer.
I mean, maybe she stopped more of it, but that's how I read that or heard that.
very convincing. And she had no way to try and contact her daughter during that entire 6 hours. She only had her cell phone. It was on speaker. She was very afraid of trying to do anything out of the ordinary, anything that these people weren't demanding. She thought about passing a note to one of these people at one of these wire transfer places, but she felt that if she did that, that this man who was on the speakerphone could possibly hear that transaction.
Yeah, she
just
also,
your gardener.
She had also said that, if you believe they were close enough to steal your daughter, it would be an easy leap in logic if they're feeding you lies that make it seem like they have somebody following you.
Yeah.
Like they were saying on the phone to her, okay, I could see you're going by the Wendy's on your left. The bank is the second driveway after that. So even though they didn't say we've got somebody following you, she thought they had eyes on her. So you would be very terrified to try anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, because in the end, you'd rather pay money than, whatever.
Right.
Wow. What a story.
Oh.
Jeez.
It's Korn. Freak on a Leash. 97.9 GRD Rocks.